Hello, it's Mr. Rio here with Sociology Zoom for today, November 5th. I actually did my Zoom session with a group of students that came at 2 o'clock and forgot to hit record. So I'm going to just quickly go over a few things to think about or be aware of for this week's assignments. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here and bring up our Google Classroom. And for this week, we have the big thing we have I'll get to last is our slides are due. We started them last week, so if you've been using your time wisely, you should have your slides done or mostly done by now. I'll come back to that last. We have this assignment here, which is real important. It's a chapter 4 and 5 videos. It's worth a lot of points, and the reason for that is there's important stuff here. These are videos that relate to topics in your notes and from chapters 4 and 5. So you watch these videos. Now, they're not real long. The longest one's 9 minutes. Some are as little as 3 minutes. But look them over, think about what they're about, what they're covering. And for a lot of you, understanding this stuff is not just about getting a grade in this class right now. If you're college bound and you're going to take sociology again, which many of you will if you're college bound, the more you learn this stuff now, the easier it's going to be in the future when you take another sociology class. And this class, I believe, is a prerequisite to doing dual enrollment sociology. So there's another incentive for you to do well. So watch these videos, do a good job on the assignment, and that's important. That's a big part of this week. There is a TED Talk. It's meant to be kind of inspirational, educational, not necessarily solely about the topics we're doing now, but a lot of them overlap with various topics. And this one is what teenagers want you to know. So it does relate to some extent to this week. But that's a standalone assignment. It's not hard. Do tomorrow. If you haven't done it already, it doesn't take long. You can watch it and do that today or tomorrow. Now, the big one that carried over from last week is our slides. And if you started them last week and then this week finish them up, maybe you're done with them. You're making 48 slides. We got parts of 2 different chapters combined together. Socializing the individual and the adolescent in society. So the first big focus, as I talked about already, is the various ways that you are socialized. Okay, it starts with your family. Your family socializes you. Your culture, whatever it may be, American, ethnic, whatever, that socializes you. Your friends socialize you. You got many different influences, not to mention biological. So you have what's called the nature, your heredity, instinct, sociobiology. That's be your genetics. That's why it's not uncommon to have 2 people. Like we're going to look at some videos too coming up on twins where they were separated at birth, grew up in different, sometimes even different countries and different cultures, different families, and then find they have an awful lot in common. And that, of course, would be connected to biology or to heredity or genes. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Okay. So how you're raised, nurture, your social environment, your family, your friends, your community, your country, your language, your religion, all those things have a big influence on you. School. Okay, so this goes into some more detail about that, including birth order and so forth. I've talked about some of that already. Okay, then it talks about developing yourself, and there's various theories of how people develop. And being the family being the most important in most societies, and that's pretty much universal, and more so in many other cultures in the U.S. Your peer group is a huge influence on you, your friends, especially in this age range. School, that's a big part of socialization. The mass media, what you see on anything from television to movies to YouTube, it has a big influence on how you think and dress and walk and talk and behave and so forth. Adolescent society. I'm just going to touch on this briefly. Adolescence is that strange age range between being a kid and being an adult. You're not quite an adult. You don't really feel like that much of a kid as much anymore. You're going through a lot of changes. The changes are physical. You're going through puberty and other related physical changes. They're psychological. They're, the expectations, your values, your norms. There's a lot of things going on in this age range. So it's It goes into what adolescence is and talks about adolescence definition, the period between the normal onset of puberty and the beginning of adulthood. Characteristics of adolescence: biological growth and development. You're going through a lot of changes. Think of like 13 to 18. People go through a huge amount of changes. And not to say they don't start before that or continue after that, but that's a time in your life you go through a lot of changes. And I see, as a high school teacher, freshmen to seniors, I can see huge changes in people, both physically and the way they behave and the way they think and so forth. Undefined status, that's a big challenge of your age range right now. You're not really kids, you're not really adults. You're gradually getting more responsibilities, and that could vary by person and family and situation. Some things are starting to be allowed: driving at 16. Some states allow marriage at 16, voting at 18. Maybe some of you voted this week if you're 18 and registered. Can't drink till 21 in our country. That's different in other countries. Some adults like adolescent culture. Others are critical. So there can be good and bad things, just like with any other culture. You're getting more decision making, probably gradually getting more responsibility, more freedom, and then you got to make decisions about that. You're getting a lot of pressure from parents, friends, teachers, all kind of people. It can be a very stressful time in life. At the same time, a lot of that pressure can be positive. People want you to do well. Coaches want you to do well. Teachers want you to do well. Friends hopefully are encouraging positive things, but that can go either way, of course. And parents in most cases are trying to do positive things too. There are some exceptions, sadly, out there where parents could not be doing that, but most are. The search for yourself, trying to figure out who you are, your identity, your rights, your obligations, your expectations, coming of age. And some of this I'm going to wait and go over next week, so I'm not going to go over all of this right now, but that's all a big part of what we're doing in this chapter. So this week is finish up your slides, watch these videos, and do a nice job on that assignment and the TED Talk. If you got a lot of your slides done last week, it's a fairly light week, and next week we'll wrap up 4 and 5, and we'll do the test on that. So either way, take care, and we will be back here on Monday. Have a good week.